Fuck. All right, we're rolling.
Planet B
presents Cult and Culture Podcast.
Episode 54 of the Cult and Culture Podcast.
I'm Luke Hinshaw.
I'm Justin Pearson. This episode features Johnny Whitney of the Blood Brothers.
Cool ass motherfucker.
Dude, he's so rad. I've known the guy forever, and it's interesting it's interesting just to be friends with someone for so long, but also like to finally start, I don't know, like I feel like we're a bit closer right now. And also just like randomly by circumstance, Swing Kids played a show in Berkeley. He came out, did a song with us, and then I was like, I don't know how it came up in conversation, but I was talking about Planet B. He was like, that shit's sick. I was like, you should do a song or just something else. And he was like, I'm gonna be down there for this thing with his family. And so he came by. We did this podcast. Kind of dove into a lot of the history of the Blood Brothers, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just interesting to like have friends and family come on our podcast and discover new things that you didn't know about them, or just, I don't know, some of the inner workings of their own relationships with their other bandmates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Johnny Whitney, he's got an insane voice. It's like, sometimes I'm like, what octave is that? It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we're going to jump into this episode with Johnny, and we have an announcement to make after
you listen to this. You got to get through the whole fucking episode.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're just rude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll see you on the other side.
Later.
I'm Johnny Whitney. I am the singer in the Blood Brothers. And yeah, other stuff too. Yeah, I was in Jaguar Love, Neon Blonde, like stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
that was a weird intro.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Well, some people are like, I do, and I also do this, or I don't know, whatever. Like,
it's weird saying I'm in the Blood Brothers because we're not like active, but like I was.
Well, you are a Blood Brother.
I am.
So there you go. You will always be one. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah. Okay, so I love the Blood Brothers. Obviously, I think that should be noted. Mm-hmm. And when I say what I'm about to say, it's not a negative thing, but like you guys starting as a band seemed like. Okay, for one, like one person yelling in a band is fucking annoying. Yeah. Two people, and then like, so like it was like very abrasive. But the fact that it went where it went musically, two things. One is that like it became successful and I like kind of normalized, I guess, in a sense. Yeah. But also the fact that like you were able to find all the nuances that maybe like most punk and hardcore bands couldn't. So like you like I would love to talk about like some of the producers that you worked with. I think that probably steered some of it. Yeah. But like it was pretty like, so the first record was like what? Was the it was like, I thought it was like that Manila Envelope split.
Oh, the first 7-inch? Yeah.
And like that's pretty like jarring musically.
It's horrible.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that was the first one. And it was like, we were just happy to put something out.
Do something. Yeah. Was that your first recording?
No. Jordan and I and Mark were in a band called Vade. And
oh, that's like your old email address.
Yeah. Okay, don't dox me. No.
Is it still your email address?
No, that's AOL.
Yeah.
No, it was Johnny Vade at AOL.
Yeah.
That's still my Instagram or my YouTube handle.
Okay.
Right. But yeah. So we were in a band that Jake Snyder, who's like from Minus the Bear, was in a band called State Route 522 in East Side, Washington those days. And like, we were like it was freaky because we were like, I mean, I was like fucking prepubescent when we started the band, right? And like the dudes in the band were so fucking talented, like, or dudes and Hannah, Jordan's sister,
yeah.
And it was just must have been weird to see.
Oh. Wait, so this first band was you,
Me,
Hannah, Jordan,
Devin, and Mark.
Devin and Mark.
Yeah, Devin from Shoplifting, among other things.
Yeah.
He's in a band called Talking Contest now.
Shit, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so yeah, they put out a split 12-inch. This must have been like 96, 95 or something like that, with this fucking incredible band called Joe Don Baker that probably nobody's ever heard of, but were like unbelievable. They're from Bellingham. That came out. That was the first thing we ever put out. And then we put out another 7-inch that this guy Wally Young put out, and then that was it for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I forgot what the question was. But.
How you got? Well, I was like trying to figure out the start of the Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
But this is like pre-Blood Brothers. Like
yeah. So we were in that band, and then concurrent with that, I wanted to like play guitar in a band. I was never like really that good at guitar, and it was really hard because like I was around so many like insanely fucking talented
like,
people. I was like, can I play guitar, right? So we started this band. We started a band called it Pan's Arrival, and it was Jordan singing, and then me and Devin playing guitar, and Cody playing bass, and Mark playing drums.
Okay.
And like I sucked ass at guitar.
Yeah.
I was like I remember this one show I literally like couldn't tune my guitar properly, and I think like 4 songs in I just like set it down and like watched them play. Like because I just felt like I just felt like so like just much anxiety about it, right? And so because I sucked at guitar, and concurrently with that we were getting into this band called Area 51, which was it was like Andrea Zolo and Spencer Moody.
Yeah.
They both sang, and so we're like, let's just do that, right? And so that's how we stole that idea.
So the 2-singer thing, because I always think like, oh yeah, not many people did it, but like I grew up with like Nausea, or like a lot of, it was like that was just.
We
around.
just started getting into those kind of bands. We're like, fuck it, right? And so we kind of morphed into that band. We actually briefly, like our first show, there's probably still flyers that exist. We were gonna, and thank fucking God we didn't do this, but we were gonna call our band the Justice League of America.
Yeah,
And
good
then
thing you didn't.
right before our first show, this was before comic books were. I mean, it was before Marvel comics. I was just a nerd, right? Like I loved comic books growing up, so I was like, we'll call it that. And then we changed to the Blood Brothers like 3 days before our first show.
And that was it.
And that was it. Yeah. And then, you know, we started it just for fun. Like we would like hand out lyric sheets at our show.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
That was a thing. Like here's the lyric sheets for the songs you fucking never heard of.
Yeah.
Right?
That was like a 90s like emo.
And our lyrics were very like, we were trying to be very clever, right?
So you were proud of it, and the record wasn't out yet.
Yeah, we didn't have any records, but and it was like 50-second songs, and like we took, you know, like I was saying before, like we took the other band we were Invade like very, very fucking seriously. It was like very like melodic emo hardcore kind of, and like within the first couple shows, like there was just became like this crazy momentum around the Blood Brothers where like people would just come, like so many more, like an order of magnitude of more people would actually just like come and see us play, and they'd be like, it was like the first time I ever saw anybody like move their body while we were like playing a show, and it was just it kind of took on a life of its own, and then it became like our main thing, right, because it just was the thing that everybody wanted to come see. So and we were really lucky that we got to you know, where we grew up at the time. I was like, I remember having this thought when I was like 13, like, I wish I grew up in like New York in 1977 or something like that. There's nothing cool going on, like while like it's 1991 and like Nirvana is like, you know, in the fucking city that I live in, right?
But maybe that was like eclipsing what else was happening underneath, like because at that point, like Nirvana was like massive.
Yeah, no, it's just a point of reference, right? But it's like, I mean, when we like this was, I think Nirvana. I went to Kurt Cobain's memorial when I was like in 7th grade. It was crazy, like the one where I don't know if there's footage of it was like Courtney Love's like freaking out over the speakers or whatever.
She's like, the guy from the Mentors killed my No, she didn't say that.
I didn't
but-
understand anything that she was saying. I was just sad,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That kind of shit. And it was
Yeah.
like when Death Cab for Cutie was like not a big band. We were just like
Yeah.
shit that was
Like
happening.
where at the Velvet Elvis,
At the old firehouse.
the old Firehouse,
Yeah.
places.
Yeah, in Redmond.
like the Velvet Elvis and the old Firehouse are kind of like the Che Cafe or the Smell or like
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like Fugazi played there. Like Drive Like Jehu played there. Jawbreaker played there.
Yeah.
Rocket from the Crypt. I saw like every amazing band. They would all just because it was the all ages club in
Yeah.
Washington. Right.
Yeah.
There was no, if you didn't want to go
the Firehouse.
the old firehouse.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
yeah.
The Velvet Elvis was too.
Yeah.
The Velvet Elvis was a lot smaller, and it was
Yeah.
like
seated, and you played
It was
on the
seated.
there was like
Yeah.
the stairs that
Yeah.
or the seats that
Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
you couldn't really like have a hardcore show.
you could try.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could
it's
try.
bizarre.
Definitely. I mean, we saw like Botch would play it all the time. So
Yep.
you guys played it all the
Yep.
time. Like, dude, it was sick. But it was in a shady as fuck part of town. So like,
Yeah.
I never really liked going there, but whatever.
Yeah. So okay, the transition though, well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it was like again 2 motherfuckers screaming like banshees
Yeah.
is like a lot.
Yeah.
But there was, and also too, like for me when we were in the bands together back then, when you're in your teens or your early 20s, life like a month seems like years.
Yeah.
You know. So like
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's like I feel like maybe from the start of Blood Brothers to the launching point of like. What was it, V2 or whatever it was, you know?
Artist Direct.
Artist Direct.
Was the first, was
Yeah,
Big
so like
Band, yeah.
that was probably pretty small amount of time. Huh?
Yeah.
Like maybe 2 years?
Well, the record we put out on your label
Yeah.
wasn't even out.
I know.
when that happened.
Yeah, I know, because
yeah.
then they were like, we're going to promote this and like
Yeah.
push that to get the next
Yeah.
record bigger.
Yeah. So it happened, like we started getting emails from Ross Robinson's like manager, I want to say in like 2000.
So okay, Ross Robinson was part of the Artist Direct stuff?
Yeah, like
Okay.
nominally, yeah.
Oh,
He had his
oh,
own
sure,
like
sure.
imprint or
Yeah.
whatever, but he was like he got The Cure like
Yeah.
signed to it and
Uh-huh.
like so he was like working with them.
Okay.
And but he tried to get us signed on like Virgin for a while. Like he tried to get us on a lot of different things.
So
that
he
didn't
did the
work
thing where like he discovered you and was like, I'm recording this and then I'm going to put it out as big as possible.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
The A&R.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he got like points on it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, but yeah, there was also separate A&R, whatever.
And also back then
What
was
a funny,
like
outdated
back
concept.
then was like you could get some shit going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally,
And you
yeah.
you guys like from what I've heard like got a little the tail end of that. Like now it's gone. You're like
Oh
recording.
yeah,
budget?
we
What's that?
were huffing the fumes of the dying music industry, big time. Yeah, no, it was we were the harbinger of the end.
Yeah.
Definitely,
I'm glad that someone I know got it. You know, 'cause-
dude, it's
yeah.
what I always wanted my entire life.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I mean, you can front like you don't want that,
Yeah.
right, and be cool, but like I did want that, and we got.
I don't want to jump too far ahead,
Yeah,
but like
sure.
I feel like maybe the fact that you got that, and then that industry crumbled,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that like aided in the way that like things panned out, like probably shortly after that point. Like I mean, a few records later, but like it seems like maybe shit
the
kinda-
band?
yeah. Like it kind of just like everyone's expectations were like, oh, you're fucked. Like good luck. You know like
Yeah, I don't know, man. It always, it was like, and I realized this when, and I'm gonna go way far ahead now, but like I realized this when the band broke up, right? And both, you know, Cody and I, and then Jordan and Mark and Morgan tried to do our own things.
Yeah.
How unbelievably special it is when you capture something that people actually give a shit about.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you're in it, there's a certain part of your ego that makes you think like, oh well, I can just do this again. Like we can just,
yeah.
you know, we've got the stamp, we'll just stamp and we'll make
Yeah.
another band. And it's just like it doesn't, you can't recreate that, right?
Yeah,
It's
so-
you got to keep the magic going for as long as possible. And that's what, I feel like what happened after Artist Direct, like collapsed and then we got on V2 and then they collapsed. It was all kind of like, we just had the right.
You were jumping from like rooftop to rooftop, and all these buildings were just collapsing.
Right. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Rampage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. Okay, so Ross came in, and because I want to talk about Guy, because that shit's crazy
totally.
too, and I would love to know like I've only worked with a couple producers, Ross one of them, but like one of the first producers the Locust worked with was Alex Newport, and he was very poignant and like bringing in like, because we had 3 singers, so he's like, you can't all just fucking dick around, like we need to have like order here,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
and so like I think like again with some of the earlier brother stuff, it was like so insane. It was just like like everyone's fucking yelling. This is crazy. And then you guys reeled it in, maybe because of these producers or just in general, because you found like. I feel like you found this nuance.
I think we just figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was more. I mean, for those first couple records, well, I mean, This Adultery is Ripe. I mean, we were still just having fun.
Yeah.
Right. It was like we were just happy to be there.
Yeah.
Like we were like, fuck, somebody wants to put out a record. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And we had it was also in the middle of transitioning off of like having Devin in the band and bringing Morgan in, and you know. The song, especially on the record that you put out, like the songs they wrote were just fucking unhinged, right? And like even with one singer, like trying to like fucking 4D chess your way into like figuring out a vocal part is like what it's crazy because there's just so much like because both Morgan and Cody are like sometimes doing parts that don't sound like they're the same song, but like somehow it like works together, and it's like okay, well I'm gonna put you kind of just have to like brute force your way into it.
But March On seemed more like to me was like. And this might not be accurate, but it was kind of like more in like a traditional punk or hardcore record, where like the next record was a shift where you're like, oh, they're more creative and artistic and doing things musically.
It was more like we had a platform, right? Like we had like all this money behind this record, for inexplicably, right?
Yeah.
We got to record in Venice Beach for like 3 fucking months. I was like 20. It was like the most beautiful thing that had ever happened to me in my entire life, right? And so it was like, okay, well, we have, you know, we came into the studio with like maybe 10 songs, and then there was some stuff that we just kind of like, it's like we wanted to bring in the other parts of like our musical interests that weren't like as the Blood Brothers because we had this platform, like, and we knew that a bunch of people were going to be able to like hear us for the first time that were outside of our like circle of influence that we had, you know, had all those years. So that's why, like, on Burn Piano and Burn, it's like, you know, we had, like, songs like The Shame or, like, Denver Max or, like, Every Breath is a Bomb that were not, like, punk songs. Yeah. It was, like, but because it's all, like, my voice is distinct, right? Like, there's not, I'm not saying that in an egotistical way. Like,
no, it is
when you hear,
insane.
When you hear me, you know that it's me, right? So it's like, that's kind of like, it just worked because, like, it's not like we're making this rapid departure and I'm like yodeling or some shit, right? Like it's like the music might be slightly different, but it all kind of like gels because it's still us and because like.
But you think you fucked with your voice on that shift from March On, like after that you went like even because I
just started taking it seriously. And
the
like,
octave though that you can reach is just like absurd.
I was like really blown away by Cedric. Like I wasn't a huge At the Drive-In fan. Like. I love them now, but like at the time, but just like seeing, it was like, they were the first band that was like in our oeuvre where people were like, this is the next Nirvana, right? And it used kind of like this contagious feeling of like, oh, well maybe like or something like that. So I know I was really inspired by him. And so like, and then when the first Mars Volta EP came out, I'm like, fuck, this dude can sing his ass off. So that was kind of like, I didn't like try to rip off what he was doing, but it was kind of more like, oh, if this person can do that, like.
Did you take lessons or anything?
Yeah, I took vocal lessons, for a while, and then I just got like a tape of like vocal warm ups, and I would just like, this is like the most autistic thing about me. Like in those days, I would just like sit in the van and do vocal scales for like an hour every day, right? Just to like just to expand my range, and that like.
And your talking voice is low,
normal.
and then the octave that you can hit is just crazy. It sounds like it's the wrong speed, like it's wild.
Yeah. I mean that was intentional.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean if you can do it, do it. Not everyone can do that shit.
Yeah. It made it challenging when we came back to doing the reunion shows. I'll say that, like, because
Well, I think the reunion shows are interesting because the technology's advanced.
Yeah.
Everybody's like become something different, and you're able to approach it. It's tricky when you see a reunion band shit the bed, and you're like, dude, what the fuck is going on? But when you do it right, it's like you guys sounded incredible. So
I mean, I think we all surprised ourselves. Honestly, I mean, I knew it would be good. I just didn't realize that it would be like orders of magnitude better than anything we'd ever done before, and more fun, and just like everything was just better. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, people care. I think time. I mean, people cared obviously before you guys split up, but like, it's weird to like look at this. What's happening right now is strange to me because some of it I understand. Like the Blood Brothers shows made sense, but like, or like Unbroken or something. But like, there's some bands I'm not gonna name them. I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Like, how did this happen? No.
Yeah.
But like, why did that happen?
Why
That
is
doesn't
Soul
make-
Asylum coming back? No,
yeah.
I don't know shit on them, but like, I think it's a function of like the fact that like technology has just melted everybody's brains.
Yeah.
Like since we were like younger and making music, and there's not like as much of like we were like burning with desire to do what we were doing, right? Like for me, it was like there's no future for me other than doing this. This is what I know that I want to do this. And there's things that we can work towards that make it kind of make sense, right? You'd have to be fucking insane to like have that idea now because especially with like punk and hardcore, so there's just not like I think that most bands when they start now, it's like the equivalent of like let's get signed or like get like money behind us is like let's go viral on TikTok, right? Which is like that's a really weird like mindset to want to be
when
in.
we started, the perception of what our accomplishments were just like, I just need to be alive right now and like function, and that helped you do it.
So anyways, that's all to say that I mean there's not that much live music now because the barrier of entry to like even starting a band and touring is so much higher than when we were starting, right? So it's much easier. It's the same thing with all the fucking reboots in TV and movies and shit like that. It's like
they run out of
like,
ideas.
Well, it's not even running out of ideas. It's more dependable like business choice, right? For
with
like
the
promoters
writing.
and venues and shit like that to be like, oh well, this is a band that this is a name recognition. This is a legacy act or whatever, right? That's just my crackpot theory,
but I think like seeing the Blood Brothers stuff, like like it made sense seeing it, but like it's hard to go like what's the like people were fucking losing their shit when you announced it. I understand why, but like it's weird to go like it's gonna be this big or like it's gonna be huge and you're like it's only this big, you know, like where do you like it's so weird to think like who creates that like. And I don't know. Anyhow, I don't know whatever happened, but I'm glad it happened for you all. It's fucking cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like, it was great. It was beyond in a way that like it made it very fucking hard to like not be on tour afterwards. Like, I mean, I'm still fucked up from it. Like,
what's it called? Like, the like post-tour depression. You're just like, oh, I'm back to civilian life. Ugh. Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, we tour. There's like the most comfortable situation we've ever had. You know, I mean, like we've definitely was not like that.
Yeah. Well, I will say like, so the one thing I'm very, very grateful for is that you guys were part of the Oops tour because I feel like the Oops tour is such a legendary thing in the sense that like it was the first time that bizarre shit had that magnitude. Like we had a fucking publicist working on it and like it was like, oh yeah, like all of this shit's getting coverage and it was pretty fucking rad. So like
we were happy to be a part of it too.
Yeah, I know. But it was crazy because it was weird. It was like the Locust, Lightning Bolt and Airborne Radar is the like thing and then two other bands joining and I would always be kind of bummed when like you two would leave or those two would leave and I'm like fuck, like I want it to be like it should just be like let's just add more and make it a thing, you know. But it was like such a strange time and I think maybe I don't know if that will be achieved again, that like because it was like so jarring to see that shit.
It
felt powerful.
I think it'll manifest in something that
different,
is not music
that weren't
right. I mean
sure.
But I mean the desire to like do things that are not normal is still there. It's just like we just had different tools than people have now.
Well, what I was gonna say though, in kind of context to that Oops tour was like when you guys announced your reunion tour, I was like, oh, they're fucking getting all the homies like opening up, and I was like, that was so well curated. Yeah. Where I think like before the Oops tour, Blood Brothers or Locust would go on tour and some random person would be like, put the fucking, Motorhead cover band on or whatever. And you're just like, this sucks. But like, you were just like, we're gonna get all the people
Yeah.
involved, and it was like every night was like, oh, because I remember people being like, fuck, so and so's playing the night I bought tickets to, and blah blah blah's
Yeah,
playing the other
yeah,
one, you know,
yeah,
and like
yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I would love to take credit for that.
I
but
know,
that's
yeah,
100%
yeah.
Jordan.
Well, whatever. Like the fact that Jordan did that is great.
No,
you know?
it really like made it special.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Another thing too that I was gonna say about the Oops tour, and also that thing is like when you have like, and you, I mean, you know, like when there's like when all of your homies are on the bill, it's stacked.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like competition where like we have to be, but it's like everyone elevates the like artistic ability. Where you're like, because I remember that Oops tour was like, there was like a little bit of competition with certain artists. I'm not gonna say who.
Oh, really?
Not us, but like other bands.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh, I'm just glad that like we get to play a show with 4 other killer acts, and like that's so inspiring, and it makes your output something.
I mean, at the time, it was a dream to like tour with the Locust. So like, you know,
and
that was it. Like I was just fucking happy to be there. You know? Like, I mean, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but like really.
Sure,
like,
yeah. I mean, we
like,
were just like same thing. We were just like we wanted, because the dates we did with you was with like you and Get Hustle, and I was like,
yeah, that's right.
I was like, this is some bizarre shit.
Get Hustle's so good.
But like I remember like playing shows, and like it seemed big, you know, but there's probably like maybe 200 people if we're lucky, you know, but like still like that was cool for that era of time.
Yeah,
but,
totally.
So it was weird to like see the shift when I was like, oh, they're getting like the treatment with Ross, you know. But you went from that and then started working with Guy. How'd that happen?
It was 100% because, well, I don't know 100%. We were introduced to him because Hannah's in The Gossip, who's Hannah Jordan's sister, and Guy produced them.
Okay.
So
Gossip wasn't. They weren't like on. They're not on They weren't on Discord or anything like that.
No,
like,
they're in Kill Rock Stars.
Yeah,
Or
Kill Rock
K-
Stars.
one of
Yeah.
those
Okay.
things, yeah.
So there's like a little bit of that like realm of music. Yeah.
So,
And also Guy is like versed in like obviously Fugazi world with 2 singers. So like I thought that was like, oh, there we go. We got someone like.
Oh yeah, I never even thought of that actually.
That's
Till
that
right now. That's funny.
Well, I remember when you guys recorded, because we went to the studio that you were recording at,
Yeah.
and I don't know who we saw, like Cody or something, but I was like hoping that Guy would be there because I am like a big fan. But I was like, oh, the 2 singer thing. Now it's gonna like makes so much more sense or whatever.
Yeah, dude, that was a dream. I mean, that was crazy. I still think about that. Like, I can't believe that I got to fucking do that. I mean, he's like a legend.
Yeah,
you know?
and he's cool as fuck.
He's cool. It's chill as fuck.
Yeah. Can you share any like things that maybe you learned from working with him?
Things that I've learned.
Because there's things that like with working with Ross that I've learned that were like not musical.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that you would never have gotten those with a regular producer.
It was a lot of like song structure stuff. Like we didn't really know how to write. We didn't know how to structure songs. Like it was kind of just like throw everything in a bowl and like mix it together and like that's it, right? And so he, you know, with songs like so those were like Young Machetes that he recorded, like songs like Spit Shine Your Black Clouds and like some of the more melodic stuff. He really helped us like, that part doesn't need to be there. This part needs to be longer.
Oh yeah,
maybe
yeah.
This part goes here. Yeah. That record, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of ways that that's my favorite record, and a lot of ways it's my least favorite record. It was a lot of like, I mean, we were like breaking up. You know, the entire record was like us. Pre-gaming a breakup. Yeah. And so it was just like a lot of fighting and like.
You knew it in the studio?
No, I didn't know it, but everybody was not happy.
Yeah.
Like it was.
You were forcing something maybe.
Well, it was just like everybody, you know, it was just a lot of petty bullshit. Like, I mean, when you know people and you've spent as much time together, I'm sure you know this is like you do when you're in a band. You sleep in the same fucking bed. You spend like 12 hours of time in a band with somebody. You smell their farts for like a month, right? Like there's just shit that builds up.
Yeah.
And I think we all kind of wanted to take the band in different directions, which is why there's like, you know, 10-minute song with the fucking flute on it at the end of it. You know, it's like it wasn't as cohesive. That being said, some of the best songs we ever wrote are on that record. Like Set Fire. Like we literally, like Cody and Mark wrote Set Fire in 10 minutes while Morgan was taking a shit.
Yeah.
Right. Like it was just that kind of like, there was just moments where we would like have all this like tension and it like nothing was seeming like it was working, and then we'd have these like brief moments of like clarity.
Like that wouldn't have been written if you weren't already going through that turmoil and that scenario.
Just a release.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, of course.
And so like when the parts of that record that are good are like the parts that are not as like thought to death, right? That are more intuitive and impulsive. Like Skeletal Lightning is also like that. Laser Life, like that was a song, I wrote Laser Life on the bus, like in Germany, and I just like had it. Like I used to fuck around in like Reason all the time, and like so I wrote it to like it sounded like Dr. Dre or something like that when I wrote it. And then like I was gonna make another Neon Blonde record eventually, but then I decided not to. So
Wait, those two bands are running at the same time?
Well, it wasn't a band. It was just like I've always felt like very for good reason, like kind of creatively frustrated in Blood Brothers, because both Cody and Morgan are so fucking talented, and there's just not a place for like another participant. So in between when we recorded Crimes and when Crimes was put out, I was living in this house that my dad, like a spec house my dad bought that he was like gonna sell, and he just let me live there. And so I just like, we had some time off, and I just spent a month, and it was like the first time I'd ever written a record that was just like stuff that I did myself. Mark helped out with a couple songs, and so like anyways, that's what that was. But like I was loosely going to use Laser Life for that, and then it just like kind of made sense as a Blood Brothers song. So
It also was interesting to see you shift from like just a singer to like singing and playing keys.
yeah.
That was like a weird move to see as a fan or as an outsider.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, there's this extra ability, which also like I'm sure maybe caused a little bit of like
No,
something.
it was good. I mean, that was like kind of the only way I could get in, right? Because it's like it doesn't really make sense to have two guitars. I'm like not even remotely as close as good as Cody is a guitar. So it's just like, and I'm not really that good of a performer for musical instruments. Like I definitely like I'm much better as a singer because like I'm not as like, you know, my style's like very loose.
Yeah.
Like I'm not I don't. It's
also
hard.
you're tethered behind the keys.
Yeah, it's
You're
like a very
you're like right here.
stoic, like, you know, stiff thing to play. And to be honest, I hate playing those songs live because it's like the only part of the show that I ever get nervous, and like I'm not great at I'm a much better songwriter than a song performer. I don't know why I started talking. We're talking about Guy. So Guy was like, sorry, Guy helped out with stuff like that, right? Like he was really great at structure. He was just like really great. Like his energy was so great. And like, you know, every time he gives you suggestions, like, guy Fugazi, like,
you have to
ask
take
me
it.
to.
Yeah,
of course I'll do that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and he would hang out and we'd watch basketball like in the studio, and like it's like a book of dirty jokes that was like just this belonged to the studio that we used to like, he would like read through and laugh. He was just a chill, like normal dude. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I mean no disrespect to Ian MacKaye, but like he was the dude, you know, like he kind of came into Fugazi in a very interesting way where like Fugazi existed, and they were like, I think notably like, oh, it's the guy from Higher Threat, but then you bring in the Rites of Spring guy, and then the Rites of Spring guy's just singing, and then he's like, oh, he's playing guitar and singing, and they're like equals, and you're like, I mean, I prefer Guy's voice, but it was interesting to see like it develop, and then I saw that happening with you all, but it's different from my perspective from what you're telling me, obviously, because you were going through the shit. It's crazy.
I mean, to be honest, I was very I had like extreme social anxiety the entire time I was in the Blood Brothers, so I probably didn't leverage Guy as much as I would now, because I just kind of like, when we would record, I would basically just like leave and go walk around and listen to music and just kind of like try to get a vibe going. I would like work, you know, we would work on the lyrics like up until the point that we were singing, and not like we did it last minute, like we just like really labored over that. And so I would just try to like either not be there while they're tracking, or like just try to like do my own thing. Just because it's like recording, especially when you're recording for like 2 months, it's like, Jesus Christ, it's like nothing for me to do. Right. And you can only record vocals for so long before you like
burn it out.
blow yourself out. So but it was fucking great. I mean, like it was an absolute dream come true to have him.
And then, so why did this come back? Why did it take as long as it did to come back to do these recent reunion shows?
Well, I brought up the idea. So my main job's at Netflix, and I go to the LA office. I live in the Bay Area. I go to the LA office like probably like 5 to 10 times a year for work. And I would just hang out with Jordan and Cody. Like we'd go get beers and hang out. And we did this for years. And then I think in like 2022, like November 2022, like I just brought up the idea, like, what if we, it was like COVID was ending. It was like, what if we like, do some shows, whatever. Like, are you guys interested? They were interested. It was always kind of like Morgan's availability was kind of always in question because he has a lot of stuff going on. And he wanted to do it. And then that was it. Right. It wasn't really, there wasn't like we just didn't really talk about it until 2022. Yeah. And then a bunch of things happened that delayed it until 2024. Sure. And yeah, there's not really a fun story around it. It just kind of.
I think happened. Because there's kind of like, to me, and this might be my own process, but it seems like a thought process. But like, I feel like there's a lot of stigma to it, to doing it, and like it can be done honestly or dishonestly, and I think that's a concern. And I feel like when you guys did it, it felt right, Or like there's certain things where I'm like, this is kind of whack.
Well, it's interesting because we did a reunion in 2014.
Yes.
That was like
a pretty rad big deal.
Yeah, but it was like 4 shows.
Yeah.
Right. It was not like it wasn't and
like New York and
yeah, it was just because the guys from Fuck Yeah Fest were like they kept asking us to like get back together to do it, and like the timing just wasn't right, and then it was right, and so we just like we're like, okay, we'll get ready for this, and then we'll just do a couple more shows. Yeah. Right. But it didn't feel as special because it was mostly festival shows. Yeah. Right. This was more like we're taking the shit on the road, dude. Like this is our thing. Yeah.
And that's it. Or we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I really want to do more.
Yeah.
There's people in the band that don't. I am the cheerleader for doing more right now. It might happen again, might not. I'm definitely like not going away after that. Like, I mean, we did those shows in 2014, and then I did not do anything at all until musically at all. Mostly just because I was tired of being broke, and so I was just trying to like figure out another way to like exist and make money and shit. And so I was really focused on like becoming a software engineer. But like this tour broke me, right? Like I can't go back.
It broke you in a way that you need it again. Yeah. You're hungry again. Yeah. That's crazy. And then, so there's always like the thing, like more new music, like that you got to watch it, dude, like don't fuck it up, Yeah. I don't want to name bands again, but there's bands that got back together and like, you should not have fucking done that,
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like the bar for like us doing anything is very fucking high amongst the members of our band.
Yourselves, yeah.
So like
that's good.
Yeah. Good and bad.
Well, good for the output if it happens. Like it'll be
But like I said, I mean, we wrote arguably our best song, I would say. Like Set Fire to the Face on Fire is like the Everything Bagel of Blood Brothers songs. It has like every single thing that I love about our band in it. And we wrote that song in 10 minutes when Morgan was taking a shit. So like inspiration comes when it comes. You don't it's not a thing that you necessarily have to labor over, right? Like if you feel it, you feel it.
I wonder, like, because now in retrospect you can look back and be like, here's the sort of structure, or here's the DNA fragments of what we need to do, and then you're like, let's replicate it, and then you're just like, ugh, it has to be like special or magical or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah. And I mean, we, as for Crimes and Young Machetes and Burn, like we treated it like a full-time job where we would practice 5 days a week. We'd get there at like 10. We would practice until like 4. We would just like try to write material. Yeah. And we threw away as much material as we wrote.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was like we just like were very, very picky. And if we ever did anything else, it would be that picky.
Yeah.
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 So
you probably have all this shit you threw away that you're like, that is fucking good.
It's
probably
all on
like
tapes that
yeah.
are currently decaying.
Yeah,
probably,
yeah.
right?
But it might be there. You know,
yeah.
Unearth that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it would be. I mean, it's interesting to think about. Like, I feel like a entirely more free and spontaneous and like more creatively pure person than I was then. Like a lot of
Dude, everyone in their 20s has got their stigma. You know, like
well, I just feel like part of what made our like what I did in the band special is that it was, you know, I was trying to say something with the lyrics, but it's like where you make your disability part of your like your strength. Like I was so afraid to like really tap into how I felt about anything that I just layered all of my like lyrical ideas under like 50 pounds of metaphor to the point where it's like you're trying to say something, but like what people are reading is something entirely different now, right? Whereas like I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I'm much more comfortable like expressing myself and like, but like all, you know, and also just more confident and like I don't know. I thought it was. I mean, even when we were like a band, and we were doing like, you know, towards the end, we were doing like really good shows and like people were coming out. I still felt like, God, I suck ass. Like I'm not like, you know, that imposter syndrome thing where like people are gonna figure out that you suck or whatever. Like we were always the band that like, you know, like bands like AFI would like take us on tour. Right, but like.
I saw that. That was wild.
It was nice.
No, people like hated you. I loved
no, they
it.
fucking that was great. Somebody threw their shoe at me. I'm like, how are you gonna get out of here?
I was psyched on that show, man. I was like, those are my boys right
there.
there.
But it's like we never really found our people.
Yeah,
right? Like in that world,
of
we
course.
had like our like community people that would always come out to our shows.
Sure.
It's like we never really like, which is fine, whatever.
I hate using these terms, but like the DIY, like these were like this is like the ground level, and like we all had each other.
Yeah.
And then you were up here fucking with mainstream.
Yeah.
And they weren't ready for it. Like that AFI thing was wild.
Yeah. But then at the same time, it did resonate with people. This is a crazy story. Like I work with this guy. I won't say his name because I don't want to dox him. But like at Netflix, I've been in meetings with this motherfucker, like 200 meetings. Just like a normal guy. And I invited a shitload of people from Netflix to all the shows. Like all the people I work with are awesome. Like, and I wanted to share that with them because like I've been telling them that I was in a band for like 10 years and like I just, you know, come see it, right? Like, I'm gonna be doing this thing. So I'm like talking to some of my coworkers and I'm like, and like this guy is just there.
Yeah.
That I've been in a billion meetings with. He didn't tell me that he liked our band. He didn't tell me that he was coming to the show, and he saw us at that AFI show that you went to.
Whoa.
That was where he discovered our band.
Oh, cool.
And, but like, I'm like, the fuck are you not going to tell me?
Yeah.
Like I was sitting next to you like 2 weeks ago. You didn't tell me you were like going to come to this, like to the Belasco to see us play. Fucking nuts.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, but like it did work sometimes. It's just like, you know, it's the thing where like the guy that's calling you the F slur and throwing his beer at you is like going to be the thing that you notice or remember or whatever afterwards. Yeah.
But he wasn't that guy.
No.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying there's people amongst those.
Oh
like,
yeah.
There's
of course.
you know like the people that like it aren't the people
Yeah.
that you hear or
But
notice. Yeah.
one of the things that I love about the Blood Brothers, and I can relate to, and I'm sure Luke can too, is like when I saw that show with AFI, I felt like maybe like when you play a show and everyone's just like, we love you, and you're like, that's cool. But when you play a show and there's like you're antagonizing and there's like a thing, there's like conflict, you perform. Like your performance is way more gnarlier and more righteous, and I saw that and I was like, oh, the dudes, they have not lost it. Like it was crazy. Like it was like, not that it was like violent, but it was like there was like an air of violence to it from the audience towards you, you reacted in like such a I don't know, like a visceral artistic way. You're just like, it was nice to see that, and I could feel how I know the fucking pain of that kind of shit too well. That I was like, this is really rad.
Well, it's like, I don't know. Like we have a huge amount of trans folks that like love our band,
which
and, like,
is bizarre as fuck.
Why?
Transphobes?
Folks.
Oh, I think you said phobes.
Well, not
Me
folks.
too.
Yeah.
Folks.
Oh shit.
Folks.
Okay,
No.
sorry. I thought you said transphobes.
No,
and I was like,
I mean,
what
maybe
the
we have
fuck?
a bunch of transphobes. I haven't met any. They haven't come and talk to me if we do. But like, you know, I was just like reading a Facebook message like before I came to this. Somebody just pouring their heart out, like
Yeah.
telling me like how our band, and this is somebody that was not like a fully grown adult like while we were a band.
Yeah.
They discovered us afterwards. Like how, you know, even down to the point of like the way that you sing, like I copied it to try to like make my voice sound more like feminine.
Whoa.
Right? Like that kind of stuff, like when we were like out in front of people that were like screaming, "Shoot yourself in the head, you fucking F slur."
Yeah,
like
yeah,
at us
yeah,
in between
yeah.
songs. It's like that makes it kind of makes it all worth it.
Totally,
Right? It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
like we were like out there. We were like, you know, putting ourselves in, like it's not really fun,
Yeah,
but you
no,
do it anyway.
yeah.
And it's like people find meaning in that, and it makes them feel safe and normal, and like you know, I think that it's more normal now, and I think that's part of the reason. Not like trans people, but like just the kind of music, like having things be odd or
Sure,
different.
sure.
It's more. It's not the world of music is much less rigid than it was back then, and so like there's just a lot more organic interest
Yeah.
in like stuff like us. That's like
There's
not
a different nuance. I mean, I think like that's what like the roots of punk was, like
Yeah.
to embrace that stuff, you know, especially the gay community. And like now, or like I think maybe in like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, there was like this huge, that might have been like the first real noticeable shift where people were like taking, because I mean, fuck, I think both of our bands were like, we are trying to do something that's not macho,
Yeah.
even though it's
Yeah.
inherently aggressive music, which is like, you know,
Yeah.
dudes
Yeah.
or whatever. And so we were trying to like, because the Locust had no idea. And same thing, people are like, I'm trans and the Locust helped me get through this part of my life, or
Yeah.
you've saved my life. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? I didn't
Yeah.
like, I'll take that compliment, but I didn't
Yeah.
sign up to do that.
Right.
Like that wasn't
Yeah.
my agenda.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's the shit where you're like, oh, we did this thing for people and they got something from it. And that's a huge
Yeah.
success or reward or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it, you know, to hear that we
Yeah.
helped someone.
Yeah, totally. And the macho thing is interesting too, because there definitely was like, you know, we grew up listening to like Earth Crisis and shit like that, right? Like we were definitely into like macho hardcore, and then we very deliberately like went another way.
Yeah.
But like it was weird later in life. Like I remember when Cody and I were doing Jaguar Love, we played this festival called like the Soundwave Festival in Australia.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I had met a lot of like the sort of like AP magazine oeuvre of
Yeah.
like metalcore, whatever, those kind of bands. Not throwing shade, but
Yeah.
like just like identifying
Yeah.
like the group of people that were
Yeah.
there. And I remember one of my first memories, we were in Brisbane, and like I get in an elevator with this motherfucker that is like, he looks like, I'm like, this is like a professional wrestler
Yeah.
or something. He was like the biggest, burliest dude I've ever fucking seen in my life. It was the guitar player in Every Time I Die,
Okay.
right? Who is a wrestler, right?
Oh,
I forget what his
really?
name is.
Is your, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, no,
so,
he's gigantic.
Yeah.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
Right, tall and jacked.
Yeah.
He's like, came up to Cody, he's like, dude, you and Nick Zinner are like my two fucking favorite guitar players, man. Like it's just like there's like people in like Hatebreed loved
Yeah,
us. Like
yeah.
you know, it was like we weren't like that, but like people, it resonated with all kinds
Sure.
of people.
And
so.
and maybe like Hatebreed, or I don't know, like I don't have any faith in the Earth Crisis people, but like I know like some of the Hatebreed people, like they might have just inherently been in that scene,
Yeah.
and like their audience made them what they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Because I've met people that I'm like, oh, you should be a fuckhead, but you're totally cool.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
not a homophobic piece
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I'm sure Nick Zinner can probably fucking. There's a lot of that. I mean, when the Locust went on tour with the IAs, people
Yeah.
wanted to kill us.
Yeah.
Like literally kill us. Like we had to get escorted out by the police a few
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And I'm like, this is, they invited us. Like, can you not want to like, is so violent.
Yeah.
Like more than like punk and hardcore shows.
Yeah.
More than like if we were playing with fucking
That's
Hatebreed
crazy.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like-
I guess like they are like a normal ass band, you know, like
Sure.
you know everybody.
But it's got to be hard when your audience is shitty, or portions of your like.
Sure.
I want to figure out a way to like, let's alienate them and get them out of here. You know, because I mean, there was times where I would see like Blood Brothers, and I'm like, oh, this has got to be jarring on so much. Like the AFI thing was.
Yeah.
I'm like, there are people here, because that was like, I felt like we were at like a. It was on a college campus. It felt like it was a sort of sporting event-ish kind of audience. I was like, who are these people? This is really weird
Yeah.
that they're reacting in this way. Like, hearing them call you fags nonstop was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
And like,
And I think maybe it might have made some of us, like, especially like the plot to blow up Eiffel Tower, like those guys just laid into it, and they're like, oh, we're gonna be the gayest band because of that, you know. And it's like, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And so maybe that like sort of antagonism that you guys got brought you to full fruition, you know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good at the time.
No, it doesn't.
But like whenever you spark a violent, repulsive reaction in somebody, it kind of feels like you're doing something right.
So rad.
You know, it's like it is like that. All of some of the greatest pieces of art that have ever been written or created, like people fucking hated, like when they were starting.
Sure.
Or whatever.
It takes like 20 years for people to be like, oh, that's good, or 100 years, or whatever you want to call it.
Or you're dead.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of crazy because I think like okay, a good example would be like that AFI show that I saw, and then seeing you now like at the Belasco, like there is so much crazy effort put into playing to an audience that fucking partially like wants you dead, and then playing to an audience that like would do anything for you, you know. And it's such an interesting contrast to see the two. And yes, 100% I would choose that other one, but I think if you didn't go through that, you wouldn't be this thing.
No, totally. Absolutely. Right. And that's the difference. I mean, maybe that's not the difference, but you know, that is one of the things that makes it different than like a lot of bands that come back. Right.
Yeah.
Where it's like, we were like, I don't know. I'm about to talk shit, so I'm gonna. No. But you know, I mean, it does make it worth it, right? Like it does, like, yeah.
I mean, you put in the work, and like that's rad, because there are like you said now, like how bands start out like, we're gonna start and we want to be successful financially or whatever, and like it wasn't like the Blood Brothers were like, what's gonna sell out, you know, like you're just like, let's do this fucked up thing.
Yeah. Well, and I'll go back to my first point that it's like you can't. Like the magic that our band was, like we couldn't intentionally ever do that.
Yeah.
And like when we intentionally tried to do anything else, it was like it's not the same momentum behind it at all. Like there's just something about like me and Jordan, Cody, Mark, Morgan, like it just resonated with people.
I would like to say that the two bands after the Blood Brothers were really, really good on their own. Like I think I wouldn't say like were they better or worse than the Blood Brothers. Absolutely, I'm not going to say that, but I would say like they both were relevant and fucking great bands and great musicians and everything.
No shade on like what we did or what they did. I'm just saying like you know, it was like starting over.
Yeah,
really. I mean,
totally.
Like
yeah.
You know,
that's all I do.
And a certain part of me like had the stomach for that, and so it was fine. But like definitely, I regret that the band broke up big time. And at the time, I didn't. I just thought I could just like, you know, I think I probably had a lot of ego.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was just like, oh well, most of the reason people like this band is because of me, so I'm gonna fucking do my own thing. And then it's like, well, it doesn't really work that way, you know. Like it really actually isn't just you, and you're gonna realize that probably in Arkansas when you play to like 5 people, and then you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. When Headwind City started, was the Blood Brothers still a band? I don't know.
So actually, Neon Blonde. When I did the Neon Blonde record, they did that.
Yeah. Okay.
Those things happened at the same time.
This funny thing happened at the first Headwind City show we played at this place, Epicenter in San Diego, but it was like we only had. Like I think maybe 15 minutes worth of music. So Cody did an additional 15 minutes of feedback before we started, and I think that really pissed a lot of people off, which was great. But for whatever reason, Cody and Nick had this idea to switch sides like towards the end of the set, and this really funny thing happened because there were all these like young like kids or whatever in front of Nick, and they like someone bought him flowers and all this shit, and like, you know. Then there's like Cody and Jordan, and Jordan looked like a scumbag. He had like a Rambo T-shirt on, you know, just like, and like, you know, Gabe and I just looked fucked. But anyhow, so like they switched at the end, and I shit you not, man. So many people were like, all these. It was mainly sounded like girls maybe, but like everyone's just like, oh, because he was like leaving the side, and then they got Cody and his fucking scummy ass.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, and it was really adorable, and
Yeah.
and I think everybody, Nick probably maybe felt bad, but all of the rest of us were like, this is hilarious,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But it's funny to kind of like get these like checks to be like, here's where you are in
Yeah,
this world,
right.
you know, like
yeah.
you're in
You thought
Arkansas playing Divide
This was
People.
actually what you are. Pick up the rock. There's bugs underneath it. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we've all made it. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us have made it this far. It's pretty wild to think about that.
Yeah.
And
you mean like not dead or like?
Yeah, like or functioning
Yeah.
in any kind of artistic way
Yeah.
and capable of like people caring.
Yeah. It feels great.
Yeah.
It's different now. I mean, like, I think about this, like, you know, when I was 15, it would be like, if somebody my age was like getting their band back together, that would seem like insanely not cool.
Yeah.
And it just does, I think that it's just a different world now.
But when
you
we
know?
were 15, or I think I was a few years older, like this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Even the concept of like DIY
Yeah.
or modern, or I get not modern because like it's not modern anymore, but like our era of hardcore and punk didn't exist as adults yet.
Yeah.
Like our peers were like, you know, Dead Kennedys,
Yeah.
and like that was just like an older person thing that we had a reference point, but it wasn't like we didn't have like the band getting back together.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Dead Kennedys did, or Misfits did, or whatever, but like
Yeah.
it just didn't happen
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
And so
It's just different now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say what you did recently, to me, and I am just an asshole, but like it seemed very tasteful, and I think it's cool because a lot of
Yeah.
bands aren't capable of.
Well, I think it just
doing
was
that.
good. I mean, that's like the main thing about it. It's just like we you know, I can only speak to myself, right? But like this is the first time I ever actually tried to be good at
whoa.
being in the Blood Brothers. Because everything that we ever did was, or at least that I did, was so just like, I was just like picking shit up off the ground, and I'll just like use it as lyrics or like ideas. Like I would just be like, I worked at a grocery store for a while. I'd like think of an idea in my head and just use that.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything was very spontaneous and very like unplanned. And I kind of like took that approach to like performance, where I'm like, I don't really need to try. Like, I mean, I guess I did, because I did vocal warm-ups. I was trying in a different direction, right? Like I was never trying to be like, I'm going to be a really good screamer in like a fucking crazy ass band. I was always like, I want to be Jeff Buckley and figure out a way to like shoehorn this shit into this weird ass band I'm in, right? And this was the first time where I was ever like, and also because like there was, especially when we were big, it was like there was this weird fandom around our band, and I just felt like
Wait, big like as in like before you broke up?
before we broke up, yeah. Where it was like, I kind of just felt like, well, whatever I'm doing is good, right? Because like I'm getting this visual feedback like from people, and like people are coming and having fun, and it's like fucking nuts and awesome. So I never really tried to be like good at that,
Yeah.
right? But for this tour, I fucking worked my ass off to try to, especially because like I hadn't done anything for 10 years. I'm like,
And you didn't want to phone it in.
I didn't
'cause
want to
you
phone
can
it
tell.
in. And going back to like my coworkers, like I literally have been telling my coworkers about this band for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like every time it makes me sound like a fucking douchebag, but it's like every time somebody be like, oh, I'm going to Switzerland, I'd be like, hey, I went to Switzerland too. And they're like, how'd you go to Switzerland?
Yeah.
Oh, I was in a band, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I'm like, if these people come to the show and this shit sucks.
Oh, yeah.
If I suck,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to be able to show my fucking face in
Yep.
here again. This is going to be very depressing. So that was part of it. I just wanted to like be good. So
Yeah.
like I would just run the set, and because we're all in different places now, we didn't really have that much time to rehearse together, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I ran the set a cappella, like, I don't know, 150 times. Like I would just do it in my house, like a maniac.
Yeah.
To no music.
Yeah.
To, you know, but that made it like, I felt like I performed way better. For those shows because I did that.
But
right?
back then, like when you were functioning, it was just like you're dialed in. You took a break, so you had to like catch up for that.
Right, but I never like tried to improve. I never tried to be like, I'm gonna scream better.
You don't think there's like a gradual improvement? I feel like there was.
I didn't try. I was saying like there was for sure, but
yeah.
I was like trying to be a a good singer, not like a good singer in the Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I felt like it was better. Everybody else is just like, I mean, Morgan's has never stopped playing music. Morgan's like, you know, one of the most like intuitively talented musicians I've ever seen in my life. Like he can just, I'm like, I know that you've practiced the least and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because like
he's
you
like,
just,
you're a half step off. Or
it's
like,
just
what,
like, just like whatever.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he could remember nothing. And he would
Yeah.
still, you just rewrite the bass lines as
Yeah.
he's going and it would be great.
Yeah.
Right. Like Cody's been playing the whole time too. Cody's like one of the most like dependably solid musicians I've ever seen in my life.
I will agree
Mark
with
is
that.
fucking amazing.
I will also
player.
agree with that. Yeah.
Jordan, amazing as well. Like it just like, we all just like really wanted to be good.
Yeah.
I think it's like that. If you internalize that pressure of like, if this sucks, this is gonna. It's more embarrassing if it sucks.
Yep.
When you haven't been a band for 20 years than if it's like you're just doing stuff.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Also, you have all your peers. Like for me, I mean, fuck, Swing Kids played last week, and I was like, this will be cool. I hope we don't fuck up. But then like when Jordan and Nick showed up, I'm like, God damn it, man. And that's like just like you know them or like other like Kevin Avery, like my bandmates show up, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
All right, you guys don't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Including myself.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that that's so like your coworker. You don't want to shit the bed in front of that person.
No. Yeah. No. But it was good motivation for sure.
That is so funny. Here we are, the end of this episode. Thank you for paying attention, to tuning into this. We, the Blood Brothers are fucking awesome. They're legendary. It's rad to have Johnny on this. And it's cool to get a lot of insight into things, how the world of the Blood Brothers has been in the past and still continues to be. So yeah, when he came down here, we had been talking about collaborating, and I'm pretty sure we're just gonna go fuck around and do a record with that guy. So Planet B new album on the way.
Feature. Yep.
With Johnny, dude, it's sick. Also, I'm psyched to have like another singer or MC. Is it okay that I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say whatever the fuck you want. He's good at work ethic too, because he's just fucking dove
dude,
right into
I
it.
know. Yeah, I'm like, hold on, man. I need to like get through this other shit. But he also like has spent most of his career with like two vocalists. So it's interesting to be like, how do you do this? And then me learn those things because I did it with the Locust, but it was much different. I think he as a vocalist has that like agenda where like in the Locust I play bass. Anyhow, we're psyched that you watched this, listened to this, support us,
Felt it.
Yeah. This is We're moving right along. We want to say thank you to everybody for checking this out. We want to thank all of our sponsors, Ruinous Media, Andy, Becky, the World Wide Web for putting up with our shit, and and you, our comrades, viewers, listeners. We'll see you on the next episode. Later.
Peace.
Cult & Culture is a Ruinous Media podcast proudly sponsored by Earthquaker Devices, Heartwork Coffee, Diodario, Kindred, Smashed Plastic Record Pressing, and San Diego Food Shed.
Planet B.